What's up, Phoenix Suns Nation? Game 79 is in the books. Are you surprised? I want to know just what the general temperature of Suns Nation is right now, because I can tell you. You know what? Screw it. We're gonna get right into it. Uh, uh, I'm not surprised. I was actually texting Ashton here earlier today. Um, like Harden was questionable. Kawhi Leonard was going to be out. Like normal teams, like good teams, great teams, would look at this opportunity and be like, guys, we got to go out there and just get this game. We got to win it. But you have the Phoenix Suns, who are consistently inconsistent, unpredictable, and not in the best of ways. No leadership, no guys that play with passion or hustle unless you're Bradley Beal. I'm not even going to play the intro tonight. Screw the intro.
What?
We're getting right into this. I don't care. Because, screw the fake comeback. It was exciting, but I'm so over it at this point. If you've been watching every single game, mostly every single game, you've seen the Suns team do this exact thing where they are so bad and they have to fight their way back. Sometimes they come up on the other side of it where they actually win these games. Sometimes they don't. And that's just who they are. And this late in the season, you would hope to resolve those issues. But this is your Suns team. It doesn't get any better than this. There's no hope. There's nothing out there that tells you this team is going to improve. Bradley Beal's going to have a good game, but that doesn't guarantee that KD and Book will. Book's going to have a fantastic game. That doesn't guarantee that everything else will go well. Your bench will produce, but that doesn't mean that your big three will play really well. Your players are going to play really well, but that doesn't mean that Vogel necessarily is going to put in the right rotations. Vogel could play the right rotations. That doesn't necessarily mean that the players will play. Book and KD can have a good game, but Grayson Allen will go 0 for 8. This team is good at one thing, and it's being inconsistent. We all know that they have talent. We all know that they can get the job done, but can you do it on a consistent basis? No. This close to the end of the season, you got to show us something. And they have it. That's the simple, blatant truth about this fraud of a team. Not contenders, pretenders. And right now, they're right where they're supposed to be, the number 7 seed in a play-in spot, because you are what your record says you are, and that's who the Suns are. And if you think they're any better, you're a fool. And if you think they're terrible, you just might be right. This is basketball. A lot of things need to go right to be a successful team, and the Suns haven't been able to do a lot of it. Charles Barkley, we love him, and I'm sure, Ashton, you heard his comments earlier today. Said this team has no leadership, they're soft, they're mentally weak. And it was just poetic how on the same day that news broke, you go out in a playoff game. Like, this is a playoff game. You win, like, you still control your destiny. You win out, you got the number 6 seed, you avoid the play-in spot, you got a nice little break. But they folded. They folded like a lawn chair, and they wet the bed on fan appreciation night on their final regular season home game. Embarrassing. This team is an embarrassment to the city of Phoenix. How dare they sell every single one of us on this dream that was Kevin Durant? I'm disappointed in everyone, man, except Bradley Beal. Shout out to Bradley Beal. And this is my rant to start the show. But Bradley Beal has been one of the most fun players to watch, in my opinion, on this team in the past 2 weeks. And just in my opinion, single-handedly will this team back into cutting what was a 37-point deficit back into a 7-point deficit. But, something's always going to be wrong with this team. This late in the season, things like that don't resolve themselves. It's just who you are. I could see this team maybe winning a series, but championship basketball, they're nowhere near that close. Ashton, the floor is yours. I just had to get that off my chest. The floor is yours.
You really covered everything that went wrong tonight. I have in my notes as a bullet point, meltdown, 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 meltdown. That is what described this first quarter. That should not see a national basketball court. That should never be on a court. Who approved this? Refs get paid to carry out the broadcast. They decide the fate to get. Who approved this? Not my money. Not my money. That's all I'll say about that. Oh my God. I don't have a picture of it. It's not on the scoreboard or in the history. It's somewhere. But Suns scored 4 points with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. I don't even know what offense we're rated, but we're one of the top offenses in the entire league, and we scored 4. I score more. I score more.
You scored as much as Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal combined at that point of the game. And tell him, Ashton, who had all those 4 points at that point of the game? Tell him. Tell the audience.
I don't want to. It's Drew Eubanks. Why is Drew Eubanks your leading scorer in the first quarter? On a team with legendary KD, Booker in his prime, and Beal as a third option, and Eubanks is your leading scorer. I'm hot. I'm mad. I didn't think I had all this in me. I'll tell you what now, Suns fans. I was stone-faced this entire game. When we got punked, absolutely punked in that first quarter, I was sitting there like this. Just enjoying, just watching watching it. Because
weirdly enough, I'm with you on that one. I actually was the same way. Because at this point of the season, you sort of expect it. Like, every night I'm cheering for them to win. But I told you like a week and a half ago, I no longer get excited to watch this team play. My anxiety kicks in and I get nervous before tip-off because I have no idea what team is about to commence. But yeah, same here. I was just watching this game. I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. I wasn't, kicking the kids, punching the dogs. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just watching. And, oh, God, just the way it began. And, Vogel still out of touch with his players and his team, not taking a timeout until we were down 17-2, wasting 3 timeouts in that first quarter. Just, if I could put on my tinfoil hat for a second, I actually think, well, number one, I just don't think the players buy into Vogel's system. I think that's probably the nicest way and most polite way to say it. I just don't think the two are a good match, Vogel and the players. My tinfoil hat, though, is I actually thought this team was intentionally throwing the game. It's kind of like one of those things, right? Like, if you are bombing a test, you statistically cannot get 0% unless you know all the answers. And it almost seemed like the Suns were doing too good of a job completely sucking at the game of basketball. It was astounding. And you're right. You named it. Like, Book in his prime, KD still has some left in the tank, and Bill being that third option, it was baffling, astounding. Like, it was the second miracle that involved a son this week. That's how crazy it was of how bad they were in that first quarter, that it actually got me thinking, I think they're intentionally doing this to either fire Vogel, which would be crazy because I don't know how late in the season you could go firing your head coach. Or number two, they just hate Drew Eubanks so much. They wanted to prove a point saying this is what happens when he is playing alongside of us. It was one of those moments where I was just like, this can't be real. You cannot be this bad. They were so bad. And I talked about it. I think this was the worst case scenario going into this game for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you lost the game. That's a bad situation. But you lost the game being embarrassed, and then you used all of your energy to come back, not to win the game, but to lose the game. Now you're on a back-to-back where now you have to go to LA and you have to win this game. You have to win tomorrow night. And on top of all of that, it's the worst case scenario because you lost and the Pelicans won. So now you're in the play-in tournament. And if the season ended today, you would be taking on the Sacramento Kings. Just anything that could go wrong went wrong for the Suns tonight. It was funny too. I was reading tweets, like even like the gun that they shoot the t-shirts out for the fans, that broke. The gorilla was just standing next to it. They couldn't fire shirts out. They couldn't give free shirts out to fans on Fan Appreciation Night. Anything that could go wrong went wrong, and more for the city of Phoenix. Tell me, is there like a monsoon? Is there like a tornado right now in Phoenix? That would be the worst thing. At least the Diamondbacks won tonight.
Yeah, at least that happened. What, I don't know. Maybe the eclipse had something to do with this. Something happened. I have in my notes. Literally, that quarter was so bad. KD tripped himself. How does that happen? How do you go like what? Is this the 17th season? How do you trip yourself? I don't trip myself. All right. Book was turning it over. All right. Beal was just not making any shots.
Yeah.
We need that dog back. You may not know about this, but back when we made our miracle comeback against the Kings, like the 20-point deficit, during halftime when we were getting smacked, a dog came onto the court and he peed on the Suns' court.
Oh, yes, I remember this, yes.
And then we came back during that game, and then we went on like a 7-game winning streak. We need that dog back.
So that reminds me. So it was like, yes, we went on a winning streak after that, leading to the All-Star break. And there was like another small winning streak that we had when Emma Stone showed up to one of the games. And then there was another winning streak too when IT jumped on board. So I think we just all need to come together and make these three things happen all in one night. We need Emma Stone to be there. We need a dog to pee on center court. And IT already has the contract to the end of the year, so it's kind of like collecting Infinity Stones. We got one of the three. We just need two more to happen to get this right, get this ship back on course.
Yeah, I think we take Oklahoma strategy and we all just open the game with the prayer. We need to start delving into the supernatural just to summon a Suns championship run here.
Yes, yeah, this you know what the stupidest thing is too? Like, I know in the back of my head we're probably going to win tomorrow night. Like, cuz the Suns team is just that stupid. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. But also, too, I think they spent all their good energy coming back, so I could actually see them losing tomorrow night as well. And then that would be a 3-game losing streak. And yeah, with the Lakers right there, I mean, shoot, man, shoot, this
Yeah.
is this is
Knowing
so
the
bad.
Suns, we're gonna exit the season with like a 5 game losing streak, and then we're gonna make it through the plans, and we're gonna be in the finals. We're gonna lose to Boston, but we'll make it to the finals.
Part of me actually kind of wants him to drop to the 10th spot. I and play in the playing tournament and then just get knocked out in that first round. I'm not gonna lie. I can't take this anymore. I can't take this back and forth with the Suns. I can't take the stress of not knowing whether or not they're gonna be good or bad in one night. I can't take it anymore. My threshold was met at the All-Star break. I'm done with this team. I'm done. I'm done with this team. So I am full on the board of one and done. Please, please, Suns, drop tomorrow night's game because I know you're fully capable of it. And you know what? Just for kicks and giggles, why don't you go ahead and lose to the Kings? Because the Kings aren't really that good, but that would just be so great if you lost to the Kings. And who cares about the Minnesota game? Because at that point, it really wouldn't matter. So that's going to lock you into like the ninth seed, right? Because I'm sure the Lakers are going to win some games, Kings are going to win some games, and so that's going to seal you for a game with the Golden State Warriors for the play-on spot. And please, just Steph's going to drop 60 plus points and send the Suns home, and our season's going to be over. You've heard it here. You heard it here first. Just end it. Don't build my hope again. I'm done with this. I don't want to get all hyped and excited about this. It's over. It's over. The season is over. Even if we get in the playoffs, you have to win 16 games to win the NBA championship. I
Easy.
feel like we've been dragging our feet to just get to 16 games post All-Star break. Season's over. Pack it up.
Pack it up. I feel like just like how anything could go wrong and went wrong for the Suns tonight, everything that could be said, we have now said. So now we're just empty here.
Yeah, but weirdly enough, I'm not like I'm not depressed. I'm
Me
just
neither.
like I'm just like, like I think if you like us, I think if you've just sat and watched all the Suns games, most of them this year, you kind of just like it just makes sense, It just like yeah. And this is where we are, and I think realistic expectations too is this is Vogel's first year, and obviously we all want the ultimate goal, but it's just been tough, man. That's all I got to say. I'm tired. Is there anything else you want to say? I know you said we kind of said everything that we needed to say, but are you ready to turn the page and look forward to tomorrow night?
Here's the thing. I'll say one last thing,
Hmm.
and it doesn't have anything to do with tonight at all. But we need to burn the number 14. Just burn it. Because last year we had Shamit, right? We had
Oh
Sham
my
God,
gosh.
Sham Wow,
I didn't
Champagne.
think about that.
He wore number 14. And then who wears number 14 again this year? Drew Eubanks.
Hey, we got a question in from the chat. It says, do we press the reset button after the season?
No. We're just gonna reset here. Still have the big three here. Well, I guess like a light reset. Just still have the big three. Get some newcomers. Maybe
I
draft
think
an actual center this time.
yeah, I think the way it just kind of all is like this is going to be your team unless Bradley wants out and he wants to be traded. That could be one of the which would just suck cuz I love Brad. I think he's so underrated, and I love Brad, but I could understand how he feels maybe like a third option when he could very well just be a number one option on another team. But if you're a number one option on another team, is that team really that good? You know, I think he's found a space in Phoenix. It's just kind of all up to him. And I don't know, what's the threshold for all these players? Because Devin probably wants to win, and He's been through a couple rough seasons with the trip to the finals, and then the failure of last season, and then the failure of what might be this season. And then Kevin coming towards the end of his career. And this is too depressing, man. Screw that question in the chat. Why did you have to ask that, man? Like, it just got me feeling depressed. I'm not ready to go back to the dog days of the Suns. I'm not ready.
It's over. It's over. During that first quarter, I actually had to check my phone because I thought I was reliving the Mavs game 7 again.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. Everyone, I saw that on Twitter too tonight. Like, everyone was like, this is worse than game 7. I don't know. No. I think recency bias is strong, but game 7 was still a huge punch in the gut. That because the Suns, their record that year was crazy. They won like 60 plus games. And I think they went through the entirety of March or maybe April where they hadn't lost a game.
Wasn't it November or
yeah,
December?
I think they did it in 2 months. They did it in November, then they did it in the spring as well. And then they kind of limped through New Orleans that first season or that first series. They won in 6, but then they took on Dallas, and each team was protecting home court. So it was 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, and then we're back in Phoenix wearing the Valley jerseys. Like, this is where we get over the hump, because it would have then had us play Golden State, which we kind of dominated them through the regular season. Man, screw that question. This is depressing. So regardless, game 7 is still the most depressing. And fun fact, it is still the first video on this channel. It's literally what started this entire thing, is game 7. But that's it. Yeah, I think I got everything off my chest, and just let's see what happens tomorrow. It would not surprise me if the Suns beat the Clippers, and I would hate this team for it. But on the other hand, I could see them, just completely losing out at this point. That's your team in a nutshell. It's like, oh, we can either beat them or we could just be, the worst team ever and lose out. That's all I got to say. I'll play the intro I'll play the video to send us out, since I didn't play it at the beginning. But Ashton, anything else? Anything else you got to get off your chest?
Not really.
All right. Well, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow night. Suns travel to LA to take on the Clippers for their back-to-back and to end the season series between the two teams. And that'll be game 80. And we will see you tomorrow night.